You get people messaging you, asking what happened to Jared at all? Did they ask you?
All the time, but I mean, they know what happened.
Yeah.
They know. Dowdy, good day to you. What's going on? How are you? What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing? Hope you're having a great weekend. Thanks for stopping by. Have a little extra time here at the end of the day. Stephanie, hello, how are you? Henry, I miss AMG Jared. Well, he's still around, just not here. But yeah, I know what you mean. Good afternoon. Why are so many managers bad in the car business? I don't know, Wavy. I think there's just a lot of people in the car business that aren't very good in general, unfortunately. But a lot of them, it's just they were taught the wrong way. Unfortunately, they just didn't get good training early on. They didn't go into a good system, and so it's just this self-fulfilling prophecy. But anyway, I like your vids. I appreciate that. Benz Bolton, Team Mercedes-Benz. That's right. Do dealers still use NADA guides? Rough trade. I mean, I'm sure somebody does out there, Grant, but I hope not. Book values are pretty unhelpful, I would say. Is it better to come with your own financing or use in-house? I mean, that could depend if you have a credit union somewhere that's doing some kind of crazy rate, but dealerships generally will be able to get you the best rates if you have one willing to do that for you, right? We're always looking to do whatever we can to get people the very best rates because we'd rather have the financing in-house. Jared, what's going on, brother? The concert was fun. It was exactly like every other Dave Matthews concert I've ever remembered in my life. Rocky, I appreciate you saying that. That's very kind. Return the slab BMW superior. Yeah, well, cars are subjective, so a lot of people probably feel that way, and that's totally cool. Are all financing managers this handsome? Derek, that's very kind of you to say. I'm the general sales manager, actually. I talk about financing so often that that's an easy source of confusion for a lot of people who watch the videos. Fruitful day. It's been a great day. Been very busy. Jacob, what importance do you put on third-party exposure, Auto Trader, Car Gurus, Cars.com, Carfax? I think it's very important, Jacob, I'm sorry, because you have to understand that those are the search engines of the car world, right? So that's where most people are finding available cars for sale. So you've got to be there, right? I know a lot of dealerships think that it's a waste of money, but that would be like saying, I'm not going to be on Google because I just, I have a sign out front of the dealership, people will drive by and see it. No, people are on search engines. That's how they find you, right? Let's see. Rocky, no. Mercedes is not bringing back the V8 and the C-Class. They are putting the inline 6 in that car like the E53 AMG has. E53 AMG. What does a GSM do? GSM is the general sales manager, so they oversee the entire sales department, right? So the idea is that oversee the sales managers, the sales people, anybody else that has a hand in sales, oversee the direction of training and process and pricing and strategy and just all of the things that go into in the sales department, very high level. So inventory, merchandising, dealer trades, etc. Terrence bought a car on a bad deal after the pandemic. I wish I would have found you sooner. Keep up the great work. I appreciate that, Terrence. I'm sorry that you, like many others, unfortunately bought at peak pandemic pricing, and yeah, it's rough. Can you say why Toyota is better? I mean, Toyota is better is subjective, but Toyota is amazing, Lucas. There's no doubt about that. I mean, Toyota is one of the best brands in the world, and they're hugely reliable. They are an innovative company. I mean, if that's the kind of car you want, if you want a reliable car that'll run forever and it's inexpensive to maintain, I think Toyota's one of the very best choices you could ever make. Rocky, thank you for the roses. I really appreciate that. Justin, what is dealer holdback? So what dealer holdback is it refers to extra money that a dealership is paid from the manufacturer for hitting certain objectives, right? So when a dealer buys a car, when the manufacturer sells a car to the dealership, they're selling it to the dealership for invoice. Okay, that is the only guaranteed spread that a dealership has, is the difference between MSRP and invoice. Holdback then has to be earned, and every brand has different percentages of holdback, and they're all tied to different things. Some of it could be, a lot of it's CSI related. There's, sales numbers that you have to hit. There could be facility requirements, right? Might be certain things that you have to do to the dealership to be compliant. And Carl, I believe it's you're welcome is the proper way. You are welcome. And there are, so basically the holdback it could vary from one dealership to another, right? So for example, if a manufacturer came out and said you have to do a $10 million renovation to your dealership to be compliant, and let's say 1% of your holdback on every car was tied to that, there are some dealers that will look at that and say, we don't think that it's worth it to do that, right? So it can be, different dealers can earn a different amount of holdback based on different things that they are achieving or not achieving. So I think AMG Jared has joined us. That's so, people were just asking about you, Jared. Let's see. Anne-Marie, why are the interest rates really high with MB? We ended up going with Audi for a lease versus the GLE 350. So interest rates, I guess, are you referring to money factors? Interest rates are generally high through Mercedes-Benz Financial because they don't really focus on financing. Now, I say that, and they do have a lot of special financing right now on certain models, but lease rates are, definitely going to be determined based on a number of different things, supply and demand. But I would caution people to pay too much attention to the lease rate on a car as the only thing they're considering, because leasing is just like a wacky thing. Like, residual values are generally very arbitrary, and lease rates are totally arbitrary. They don't really move like interest rates do. I've done videos about this in the past where lease rates are modified to achieve certain payment ranges for leases. It really has little to do with what actual interest rates are out in the economy. So I know that's a very complicated discussion for another time. What are your thoughts on AMG Jared joining BMW? I hadn't heard that, so I no comment. Elena, hello, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Should be called, yeah, okay. Let's see, Shad, I seen a video where you said certain cars you have to purchase a starter car to be considered to purchase higher. Well, so that was a video where it was a younger kid that had never bought a car before, and the first car that he wanted to buy was an expensive CLA AMG, and he didn't have any previous car credit. So when you don't have, the number one thing that lenders really care about is your credit history. Now, your credit score will be a result of your credit history, but if you've never had a car loan before, you're really not going to be able to just go out and get a $100,000 car, right? The banks are going to want you to start smaller. So in that particular video, we were talking about he needed to buy a less expensive car and drive that for a little while and make payments on it on time perfectly, so that he could then upgrade to the car that he really wanted once he had established a credit history. How long do GLC 300 coupes last? They generally go pretty quickly. I mean, it's weird. The production on those is always so random. We were sold out of them for months, and then now we finally have a couple of them in stock. But they go quick. But they are expensive. They're high demand, low supply cars, and they are expensive. Hang tight for just a minute, guys. I might have to hand over keys to somebody here, but any deals coming on CLE? Is the model changing in 2026? No, that was an all new car for 2024, so probably going to be a few years before we see any changes there. Getting a loaner EQB for $299 a month. Wow, that's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. Stephen, do you encourage your sales staff to buy Mercedes for their personal use? Absolutely, yeah. We want them to drive Mercedes for sure. If they can make sense of it, of course we do. Apple user, yes, I'm the general sales manager. Is there MB that is great quality but also great value? I've heard and read. So I would say that the GLE is one of my favorites for quality and reliability and holding its value well. Rocky, what makes you stick with Mercedes for so long? As far as I'm concerned, it's the best brand in the world. I love the history, the heritage, the luxury, the safety, the innovation. I love how diverse the product lineup is. I mean, I love that Mercedes-Benz has like something for everybody. They truly do. I really love Porsche as well, but Porsche is a very limited brand, right? Porsche only has a couple of models. Thoughts on the new CLA EV? I'm very excited to see it based on first impressions. I think it's going to be super cool. That car is going to have a lot of technology in it, which is going to be really awesome. As you say, I prefer leasing over buying. I can buy a 25 S63 for $175. CPO can't lease. Is it a mistake to buy? Andrew, with an S63, my recommendation would be either you lease it or you wait for it to be about 2 years old and then you can buy it. Right? But those super luxury cars like that are they're going to be expensive to buy, especially if you're not going to keep it for a long time. No, Derek, I work 5 days a week. Are you going to get another content creator for the dealership? Not planning on it. I mean, if anyone on the sales team wants to start making their own content, I do encourage them to do that, but it's demanding and not everyone's willing to put in the work to do it. Do you tie your bow ties? No, of course I tie them. Of course. No pre-ties. Only self-ties. No, the agency model will not happen in the U.S. There's too many franchise laws, and if it happens, it'll be hundreds of years from now. Although a lot of people want for it to happen, but it's not going to happen. So thank you everyone who's hanging out today. Hope you're having a great weekend. Please make sure that you're hitting the like button and the thumbs up button. That really helps me, and I do appreciate that. And if you're not following me already, would love and appreciate a follow or a subscription over on YouTube. That means a lot to me and helps to keep me going and get more people to see the content and hopefully provide a lot more value to car consumers and people in the industry and anybody that's just interested in cars at all. Alan, what's going on? How are you? Good to see you. Devin had a couple bad experiences buying out-of-state motorcycles and took 8 months to register. Oh, wow. And yeah, so, I mean, look, it's possible to have a bad experience, whether it's in-state, out-of-state, right? And that's why it's really important to pick the dealership. Pick the dealership, not the car or the motorcycle, right? That's my recommendation to everybody. Bob, the Sealy 53s are dynamite. Best car Mercedes-Benz has done in years, and the market is reflecting that. People are really snapping them up. Let's see, Sandro, I have an EQE and absolutely love it. Only miss the self-driving capability that Tesla has. Sandro, so I'm glad you love your EQE, and yeah, just keep in mind that Tesla plays by a different set of rules than legacy manufacturers like Mercedes-Benz and BMW and everybody else, so they can enable features in their cars that Mercedes-Benz is capable of but legally not allowed to do, right? So, that's just what you have to keep in mind, is that Mercedes has a lot more capability for those systems than they are currently allowed to legally implement, right? Because Tesla is constantly operating in a beta mode and you're basically signing a waiver or disclosure every time that you use those services in the car, which Mercedes-Benz is not doing that, right? They're not making you sign a waiver every time that you use the driver assist. So hold on just a moment. Hey John, how are you? Got a couple keys for you.
That's great. Thanks for being generous.
Absolutely.
Do I need anything right now, son? He's gonna take care of it all?
You're good.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Have a great weekend. Okay. Let's see. Any manager positions open? No manager positions currently, no. Does MB make a third row that's not a GLS? Yes, we have several. So the GLE, the EQB, the GLB, and the EQS are all optional with the third row. Okay, so GLE, GLB, EQB, and EQS SUV all have optional third row. The GLS is the only standard third row. Do dealerships share monthly sales totals between each other? Well, we get a ranker report at the end of every month, and sometimes throughout the month that shows where we stack up against other Mercedes dealerships. John, thank you. Thank you for the liking the content. I appreciate that a lot. I really do. You all coming on here and chatting with me and asking the questions and being supportive. That's what allows me to come on here and do this. Right? That it's a joy for me to do this. So. Have you ever considered another type of sales, maybe new home construction? I would assume you'd be able to. No, I haven't. I really haven't. I really love what I do, and I'm on a mission to show people that buying a car doesn't have to suck. It doesn't have to be scary. It can be fun. It can be easy. And my hope is that in doing that, not only can I give consumers some hope that it's possible, but I can also show other dealers the benefits of doing business that way, right? So that is kind of the mission that I have been on for a long time, and now that I'm doing the social media, it's a way for me to kind of do that on a much bigger scale. So, quick question, how much customization comes with the G manufacturer on the new G-Class? So every year there's way more customization options that have been added by Mercedes-Benz into that manufacturer program. There are some really exciting updates for model year 2026. A lot of new paints, a lot of new interiors, a ton of new customization options, and they are going to continue to do that. So they're really following the Porsche model of like ultimate, build it the way you want it. And we just had a webinar yesterday, as a matter of fact, where they rolled out all kinds of new customization options, not just for the G-Class, also for the S-Class and a lot of our other models. So I'm really excited actually to share some of that with you all. You should see some of the new paints and interiors that you can do on the S-Class. They are wild. But I'm really excited to see how they continue to expand that program because they want to give you access to thousands of paints. In fact, let me tell you while I have you here, while we're on that subject, because I thought this was super cool. They will have up to 20,000 different paint colors will eventually be available, which I don't even know how that number is possible. But basically, you'll be able to paint it whatever color you want. So that's pretty spectacular. One trick dealerships won't tell you. Don't tell them you have a trade-in card until you get the lowest price. I'm not sure what that means. One trick dealerships won't tell you. I'm not sure what that means. What is the Black Series? The Black Series is a special edition AMG that AMG does at the end of every generation of a car that they, basically a generation of a car. So when you get to the end of a generation of they did one for the C-Class, the SLS, the GT. It's basically like their final send-off of the most intense, over-the-top, track-focused version of that car that they've ever done. Right. So it's a very limited production special edition car. New beginnings, there's not really a score requirement to lease a Mercedes-Benz. Obviously, being over 650 is going to be helpful. It really does come down to your credit history, and specifically your payment history on all loans, but payment history on previous auto loans. That's going to be the number one thing that's going to help you to get a car loan. If you have a bad payment history on previous car loans, then it's going to be very difficult. And we are hiring. We are hiring for sales, by the way. For those that ask, hey, can I work for you? Yeah, absolutely. We are hiring. If you go to my link tree, there's a link in there to apply. And if you're willing to relocate to Cleveland, great. If you're already in the Cleveland area or Northeast Ohio area, then even better. But yes, we are hiring. And if you are serious about interviewing, then please go to that link and send in your resume and your information there. So, how easy is it to get approved for a $45,000 car with $10,000 down? That should be relatively easy, provided you haven't had any major credit hiccups in the recent past, things like bankruptcies or multiple charge-offs, etc. So if that isn't the case, that shouldn't be very complicated. And rates are going to depend on whether you're looking at new or used, but rates are down into the 5s and 6s on new and probably upper 6s to 7s on used. I have no idea why you keep showing up on this British guy's phone, but I'm all for it. Michael, I appreciate that you keep watching. That means a lot. Thank you very much. Favorite non-luxury brand, Toyota. Toyota is definitely the favorite non-luxury brand for me right now. Best Mercedes lease right now. GLAs are really compelling. GLAs, GLBs, very compelling. Do I need to wear a bow tie if I work for you? No, you do not. You'll have to wear a tie, but no bow tie. How is it without AMG Jared? It's the same. All's well, right? I mean, we miss Jared, but he's doing his thing, and we're doing our thing. Adrian, a charge-off is when you basically stop making payments on a loan, and the bank gives up on trying to get you to make payments again or collecting from you, and they just write the loan off and submit it to a collection. They basically eat it internally on their books. They say it's a lost cause, we're not going to get this money back, but that will follow you for many, many years. And it indicates to future lenders that, well, you weren't willing to pay that loan, so why would we believe that you're going to be willing to pay this loan, right? So stopping to make payments on a loan for any reason will torpedo your credit, and it will really, really, really hurt your chances of borrowing money down the road. How often do you see customers come in with their own financing? And I would say it happens maybe 10, 15% of the time, but most of the time we're able to beat it. Russell Cole, is it the end of the V8 4.4 liter twin turbo as we know it? Well, we have a 4 liter twin turbo right now. There is a new engine that is in development. So that we don't have a ton of details on that just yet, but we do have a new engine. It'll be a flat plane crank. So we're pretty interested to see what that's going to turn out to be. Is the C300 and the GLC 300 the same type? C300 is the sedan, GLC is the SUV. What is your opinion on down payment versus zero down on a lease? I don't think you need a big down payment. Just cover your first payment and fees, and that's all you need. Nothing above that. If you weren't selling cars, what would your dream job be if money didn't matter? My dream job growing up was to be like a ESPN sports anchor. Like a sports anchor would probably have been like my dream job. That would have been a lot of fun. But I haven't thought about it much anymore since I love what I'm doing. How many sales execs are on your team, and how many new used cars do you typically do? So right now we've got 13, and we typically do between 150 and 200 a month between new and used, and we're working on getting back to the 200 to 250 that was pre-COVID. Saturday is BenzsandBowties Day. I love it. Geely, you're 53 or 63 more reliable? Well, a 53 is a little bit less complicated, so theoretically less that could go wrong, but they're both pretty reliable. And Adrian, I studied economics at Ohio State. Excuse me. Did you ever drive the SLC? What was your opinion on it? I love convertibles, and small fun convertibles I think are a joy to drive. I know not everybody agrees, but yeah, I was a big SLC fan, 100%. 100% I love the SLC. 100% I love the SLC. What's not to love? Those are fun little cars. Just a moment. I did go to Ohio State, the Ohio State University, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let me grab a water real quick. Again, humbly ask that you please hit the like button, hit the heart button, hit the thumbs up button, whatever it is. And if you're not following already, please consider following. That would be very helpful, very much appreciated. And I really do appreciate all of you being here. Just one moment. All right. Yes, we have several third row vehicles. GLS, GLE is optional. GLB, EQB, EQS. What company do you use for shipping? We use a company called Super Dispatch to post our trips that we need, and then companies are able to bid on them. St. John's alum here, very nice. Christopher Hall, any advice for newer sales manager? Just hit my 1-year mark at Toyota Hyundai store. Very nice. Best advice I can give you is just to really get to know your sales team, understand that they're all different. They need to be managed in a different way. You have to work with them, take a genuine interest in their lives, and figure out how you can make their lives easier and better, right? Because salespeople always want to be built up, right? Make sure you praise them when they do something well. And if you have to, give them feedback, do it privately, right? Just some very basic management advice. Will the next version of my S-Class have a V8 option? Yes, I'm confident that it will. What's it like selling an EQS knowing that immediately your clients will be buried $50K? I don't sell them. I make sure that they lease them so that doesn't happen. Lease 63 is going to be end of next year as best I know. So we're still a ways away from that. Could you please advise on the tax credit on a trade-in versus selling to a third party? Yeah, so when you trade in a car, then you get a tax credit on the new car you're buying. So let's just use general math to keep it simple. So here in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, where we are, it's an 8% Ohio sales tax. Okay, so let's say you had a $100,000 car that you were buying and you had no trade. Then if the sale price was $100,000, you'd be paying $8,000 in tax. Okay? If you then had a trade and the dealership is giving you $50,000, you would be paying sales tax only on the difference of the car you're buying versus the car you're trading. So now, $100,000 car you're buying minus $50,000 trade value is $50,000. So now you're paying 8% of $50,000, which is only $4,000, which means that effectively your trade is worth $54,000 instead of $50,000. So if you were going to sell it private party, you would have to sell the car for more than $54,000 to net out ahead, right? So for example, if you got $50,000 as a trade, but you could sell it private party for $52,000, you actually would be costing yourself $2,000 in the lost sales tax credit. So hopefully that's helpful. Do you ship to Honolulu? We've shipped to Hawaii once before many, many years ago. Haven't done it in a long time, so I really can't confidently say what that process looks like again. All I know is that we had to get the car out to California, basically to the port of Los Angeles, and then it was shipped from there. It definitely took a couple weeks, I know that. Do you come with the purchase? No, I do not. Used 2018 G63 AMG with 61,000 miles for 75. What's going on?
How's it going?
Good.
Question for you.
Yep.
I have a quote saved in there for a customer.
Okay.
They're asking about the money factor for the GLE 450E.
Okay.
I don't know how to. I don't even know how to find the number. Hold on.
You can get it from me.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that guy.
It is 00333. Okay. What happened to your GT yield, by the way? 0.00333.
0.0033.
333.
Okay. GT was good to go. It's going to Louisiana and it'll be shipped covered.
Oh, you never came over to board it. That's why.
Yeah,
I was asking.
I actually came over here to board it, and then I got called for a walk.
Gotcha.
So
All
that's
good.
what it was. And then also, what was my last question? Oh, can you print something out for me real quick? I'm on my laptop. I couldn't get. I'm here.
Yep.
Are you live?
I see. I am. Yep. But I see what you need. 5,000 down, or due, I should say. And what is 36 months?
36 months, 12,000 miles.
12,000 miles. Got it. Do they have fleet? Anything like that?
They said they don't have Sam's Club or
AAA,
AAA,
USAA, military, Morgan Stanley reserved. No. Where do they work? Figure that out.
We're good. Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. I'll figure. Oh, he works for Progressive. He works
Progressive's
for
on the fleet list.
Perfect $500.
There you go.
off him, if you want to add that in there as well.
Yep. There you go. Progressive employees, if there are any of you in here. All right. Boom, boom, boom. No trade?
No trade.
All right. All right, all right, all right, all right. How long is the warranty on a Benz? It is 4 years or 50,000 miles, whichever comes first.
DJ Baby Fresh. Thank
There you go, brother.
Thank you.
Do CPO warranties run with the car if sold? So if you sell a car private party, then you can transfer the CPO warranty. If it gets sold back to a dealership, then it goes away. I've heard you talk about Amex and business owners. So American Express, that program ended at the end of last year. I do apologize for the confusion there. I do have videos that were filmed last year that come out now, but there are a lot of different ways to qualify for that incentive. The way, you could work for a company on the fleet list, you could have AAA, you could be USAA, Sam's Club member, military, ABA, AMA, ADA, all of that. So a lot of different ways to qualify for that. Could you please explain the allocation process for a fully customized vehicle? So Mercedes-Benz allocates cars every month based on historical sales and also in-stock inventory, right? So it's a combination of how many have you sold in the past versus how many that you have now. So they want to make sure that they are rewarding dealers that sell a lot of cars, but without overwhelming them with inventory. And right now we don't have any allocation yet on 2026 GLSs, right? So we don't know when those will be built yet, because they have not been allocated. So my guess is that that'll happen soon. You're probably looking at like an August timeline. Can bring it in. Thank you. All right. Why does it matter for fleet if you own an LLC versus solo? All that matters is that it's an LLC or a corporation. Sole proprietor does not count. That's the only thing. Will the salesperson tell us a better discount, Sam's, Progressive, etc.? Yeah, the sales team, we coach them to always make sure they're asking for that question. Now, not every dealer is going to ask you, but we want to make sure everybody gets the full savings. Jay White, thank you for the Year Awesomes. I appreciate that very much. Is Sealy Coupe the only two-door without going to AMG or a convertible? Yes. Yes. Doug, how would you compare the E63 wagon to the R6S Avant? Very comparable. They're both just awesome flavors of performance wagons. Why do you print so much? It's 2025. I didn't know the printers still exist. Well, we put things on paper so that people can touch it, feel it, see it, look, read it. We do a lot on screen, but we do also have to print a lot of paperwork. So, yeah, it's not ideal, but it is what it is. How do you like the GLC, Jack? I love the GLC. That's our #1 selling volume car here in the States now. It's a great size SUV. It works for a lot of people. They're very easy to get in and out of. They're just a fantastic car. They sell well. Big fan. Can I do your taxes for a car and trade? That would be nice, but I don't know if the values would be equal, unfortunately. Does the sales tax credit apply for a lease vehicle going to another lease? That varies by state, but generally no. I'm sorry, no, not if you're going into another lease, no, because on a sales or on a lease, you generally have only paid partial tax to lease the car. Opinion on GLBs? GLBs are an excellent entry into the brand. They're fun, they're boxy, they're spacious, and they're at a great price point. Now, they're not going to be quite as luxurious as the GLC and up, but that's why they're the entry car to the brand SUV-wise, that and the GLA. My daily driver right now is an EQS 580 SUV. What would a lease on a C43 look like, 71K MSRP? I don't have that right in front of me, but C43s do lease out very well right now. I mean, let me see. I think I might have one left in stock. Let me look. Oh, never mind. I have a couple. Let's see here. I want to get one that's kind of closer to that MSRP that you're talking about. No, not going to be that one. Let's see. Okay, so we do have a $70,000 C43 in stock. And that is going to be about $11.70 a month for 10,000 miles a year, taxes and fees included. All right, I'm going to start working for Cadillac. What do you think about the brand? I think Cadillac's really doing well. They've really stepped up their game, so they're doing awesome. How soon can you get out of a lease? Depends on the car, but you need to at least get more than halfway through it before you even consider it. I would suggest that you're under a year left before you even entertain that conversation. My friend just bought a Hyundai Palisade. He put $40K down, has over 900 credit, rating out the door was around $85K. Would he have made a great Benz customer, and what would he have potentially been looking for vehicle-wise? Yeah, absolutely. My goodness, how expensive are Palisades? Holy cow. He probably would have been looking at a GLS 450 would have been the model for him. So, yeah, here's the thing. What's amusing to me is that so many competitive cars have gotten extremely expensive, but because they have, less daunting brands behind them, they don't think twice about it as much as they do, where they just assume, I can't afford a Mercedes, even though a lot of times Mercedes is right in line pricing-wise with things from Hyundai, Kia, Ford. I mean, Ford trucks have gotten outrageously expensive. Pickup trucks are crazy how expensive they are, but people, it's a Ford, right? It just so it doesn't seem as expensive to them. But anyway, well, I do want to give myself a little time to wrap up the day. This was a kind of a quick one today, but I did want to hop on and try to answer as many questions as I could. So I do appreciate everyone hanging out for a little bit. Again, thank you for the likes and the thumbs ups and the follows, and yeah, I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. So if I don't see you guys for a couple days, have a great rest of your weekend. And remember, anybody who is in the Cleveland area or Northeast Ohio area, our second Cars and Coffee is tomorrow from 10 to noon. We would love to see you. Come by, see some cool cars, say hello, and yeah, right? That's a totally free event. Come get some coffee, have some breakfast sandwiches, bring the family, right? There's no cost associated with it. So, and Scat, last question, will the Lease 63 have a V8? Yes. So anyway, appreciate you all. Have a great weekend. Talk soon.